Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. If I sound a little funny, my tongue is a little numb. I had a tooth removed today and you know, that lingers for some time. So if I sound a little like slurry, that's why. My tongue feels like it's this big. But this week I wanted, I like to do like a 5-part series. It's going to be on what your fulfilled life may look like. What does a fulfilled life mean? I don't want to break each one down. So today we're going to talk a little bit about regrets, because you can't have a fulfilled life while living in regret, right? Listen, the reality is, what is a fulfilled life? I guess maybe we should start there. So a fulfilled life is where it's not perfect. I said fulfilled, not perfect. So fulfilled means, you know what? You're going to take the good, you're going to take the bad. Immediately I go to facts of life in my head, but you're going to take them, you're going to take your experiences, you're going to take your missed opportunities, you're going to take your failures, you're going to take all of that and go, okay, cool, but cool. And you take all of that and you sit in acceptance. That's fulfilling. Okay. It really is. So to be fulfilled, you want to check a few boxes. Your spirituality, whatever you believe in. You could say, I believe in this pad. Great. Believe in this pad with all you got. But your spirituality has to come from a place of grounding, understanding that life is bigger than you, understanding that when you have spiritual fulfillment, it's your journey and your journey only. Now, we could all believe in, let's say we all believed in the exact same thing. We're all going to have a different journey to get there. So you want to have your mind, body, spirit. Those are the things that have to be somewhat balanced in order to be fulfilled. Mind, body, spirit. And in order to do that, you cannot live with regrets, which is what we're going to talk about today. Listen, I mean, like I did, remember, this isn't like I just woke up and I was like balanced. Are you kidding me? I lived as a victim. I lived with all of those things. I lived with all of these, oh my God, coulda, shoulda, wouldas, why didn't this happen? Regrets for days until you realize that's your ego too, right? And it can be a trauma response, but it's also your ego. It also goes into like, oh my God, I could have done this. I should have done that. And you have to be careful of that, because when you're doing that, you're never going to be satisfied with where you are. You can't be fulfilled in that area. So that does kind of go into the mind piece of this, right? So we're going to talk about this body and spirit too, but really about mind, because your mind is a very powerful tool. It can benefit you. It can hinder you. It's just there. Right? It is what it is. So when you're sitting in regret, you're going, oh my God, if I wouldn't have done this, things would have been different. They would have been different, but you don't know how they'd have turned out. You played that storyline in your head of, if this wouldn't have happened, I could have had such a great life. You don't know that. You don't know that. It would have been different. Yes, facts. You don't know it would have been better. Don't be like, yeah, I do. You don't. And so what you do is you take the lesson from whatever this regret is, right? So you say, oh my God, I regret I didn't take that job. I regret that I made this decision. I regret. No regrets, baby. There's lessons. I'm not asking you to pretend like it didn't exist. But if you're living in a space of regret, then you're always going to be living in a space of backwards. Your life isn't going to be fulfilled. It's going to be empty, because you're going to be looking at an idea of what you wanted to fulfill you. Cannot do that. You cannot do that, because that time is not coming back to you. What you could have done, you can't do now. I mean, that is a hard fact. What you could have done, you cannot do today. However, you can say, if this situation arises again, what would I do different? Not what would the situation, we're not blaming other people. This is about you. They're your regrets, not others. I regret I didn't leave this situation earlier. Okay, so now you know going forward. See, that's the thing. You're living in the past. The past is where the regrets are. You're going to mess up in life. You will mess up again. You will fail. You have failed. You will have things that, you know what, to this day, I'm recording this on Monday. So on Friday, you may be like, damn, I should have done more on Monday. But you're here on Friday. So that is the art of mindfulness. To have a fulfilled life, you must stay in the present space and be mindful. Okay? I'm going to do a whole thing on mindfulness. I promise that's coming. But the mindfulness means that you're doing things with intention, not with regret. See, you can't say you want to be balanced and you want to be happy and you want to have peace, but then you're going, I could have done this. Why did this person do this? Why? You know what I mean? Like, that's just not a thing. So when you focus on a regret that you have, because again, we all have them, You don't pretend as though they don't exist. You, of course, acknowledge them, but you go, okay, I can't undo that. Now, this is the acceptability factor where you want to use those 5 journals. And there's a whole YouTube on those 5 journals. Definitely want to use those 5 journals because that's how you process your feelings, right? You can't stop trying to do things in your head. Just because you go, oh my God, 5 journals, this seems like a lot of work. Okay, is it a lot of work to just sit there and obsess on something 24 hours a day? Yeah, it is. So when you're writing it down, you're able to say, okay, wow, this is what I regret, right? Write it down. I regret this, right? I could have done things differently. I don't need you to be on that loop. You've acknowledged that. What would you have liked your role in that outcome to be? Not the outcome. See, this is that tricky part. You can't say, well, if I would have done this, right? So let's say it's a regret that you have of something that you messed up. Oh man, if I wouldn't have done that, oh, we could have had the best relationship. You don't know that. It would have been different. Maybe it'd last longer. Maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe it'd have been more toxic. Maybe it wouldn't have. But you get married to the idea of what the regret is attached to and the outcome that you think would have happened if that wouldn't have happened. And you can't do that. That's like forecasting the future in the past, but it's just not in your best interest. So when you're in that space to understand that, now you're able to move forward in the regret and go, wow, I really should have done things a little bit different. But you know what? Going forward, if the situation presents itself, this is what I will, this is what I will do different. And what can I learn about myself in this regret? Not to beat yourself up. I promise you this, you're not a martyr and you're not getting extra points for beating yourself up. You're not. Like, there's not a special award when you cross over that, when you get to wherever it is that you believe that you get to, that there's a sign that goes, great job. You really beat yourself up about that. That's good. You know what? You get extra points. Opposite. I mean, you just don't get extra points for doing it. You don't get extra points for carrying your regrets with you and or everything else that you carry with you. So when you deal with your regrets, it's not to pretend that they didn't exist, but it's not to obsess on them. So you want to process them. You want to say, wow, okay, I think things would have been different and maybe they would have been. Well, they actually would have been. You don't know if it had been good or bad, but yeah, it would have been. But you know what? I'm here today. You have got to keep reminding yourself, I'm here today. What I've done and what my regret is, because a regret isn't what other people did, it's what you did. Okay? So when you go, okay, how is this serving me? It's not. The lesson will serve you. Going forward, it will serve you. But that's it. And that is the spiel on regret and living a fulfilled life. So we're going to talk about the mind, we're going to talk about the body, and we're going to talk about the spirit and how that all connects throughout the week. But when it comes to regret, baby, you're going to have them. You'll have them in various parts of your life. Normal. You don't get on that merry-go-round of I'm going to beat myself up because I'm this horrible person. No, we're all flawed humans. You're imperfectly perfect. Know that going into your day, every single day. You are imperfectly perfect. You're supposed to mess up. It's okay. You just learn. That's how we grow. So to live in regret and say you coulda, shoulda, woulda comes a line of that ego that says that you can't let it go. But I promise you that if you let it go, that's where you're going to grow. That's the big secret, right? Is you think that, again, you're not a martyr. No one's going to give you extra points because you're beating yourself up. No one. And no one should. No one has to reassure you, including me. I don't have to reassure you, but you do have to reassure yourself. And in order to do that, you have to process your feelings. Because feelings aren't facts. Thoughts aren't facts. But they're real to you in that moment. And when you realize that those feelings aren't facts and thoughts aren't facts, and that time in whatever it is that you regret is done and over, now we have expansion. That's where we develop. That's where we grow. And that is the key for you guys. So hey, you know what? No regrets, baby. No regrets. You might have a bad hair day. It's okay. You might have cut your hair. Oh, I regret I cut my hair. It'll grow back. If it doesn't, throw in a wig. Stop looking at the instant gratification from the effect of the regret too. Things take time. And that is how you expand, baby. So welcome to this wonderful series on fulfillment. We're going to talk about your mind, your body, your spirit, how to bring them all together. But the one key that we'll always come back to and who has the power over that is you.